If you're watching this video, it is likely that someone you know or someone you love is in the process of grieving the discovery that their partner is a narcissist. But before we get started, I just want to remind you to please give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. So we're just going to go over what NPD is, what narcissistic personality disorder is. So it is a mental health disorder, and the exact cause isn't really known. It could be a mixture of genes, genetics, heredity, early childhood experiences, and psychological factors. Early childhood risk factors include excessive praise and judgment by parents, trauma, or childhood abuse. So when a person has NPD, they have an inflated sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy for others, and a deep need for constant attention and admiration. They have a very difficult time in being alone, so they need to be around people constantly. While someone with NPD, it may seem like their self-esteem might be high or off the charts, it really is quite low, super fragile, and they depend on external validation or self-deception. So they believe in these grandiose fantasies about themselves. They believe that they are smarter, they're more attractive, they're more successful than anyone and everyone they know. They easily put people down. They will hijack conversations to make themselves feel better or superior. They don't want to feel less than perfect. It's uncomfortable for them. So they will protect themselves at any cost. They will do smear campaigns on people just to protect themselves from any negative behavior being perceived. So people with this disorder, they have a lifetime struggle with intimate and interpersonal relationships with family, friends, and coworkers, and of course, romantic relationships. So narcissistic cycle of abuse, it is a pattern of behavior that characterizes relationships with people. They first idealize them, then they devalue them, and then they discard them when they are done with them. They've gotten all the use they can get out of the person and they're ready to move to the next. So it's real toxic and challenging relationship. They lack empathy, respect. They definitely don't know how to do healthy communication. And they can leave you feeling used and unimportant and worthless. So the grieving process is necessary, when you are dealing with this. So it's a process of letting go of the person that you thought you knew and loved, coming to terms with the reality of who they actually are. And this process can be difficult and traumatic. It's a process of healing, growth, and self-discovery. So if you're in the process of grieving the loss of a narcissistic relationship, then this video is for you. So you're not alone. A lot of people have been through this very painful experience, me included. So while there's no right way to grieve, we know this, there are some things that I want to list here that may help you. So giving yourself some time to grieve, you don't want to rush through it. You need to take the time, go through all of the steps of the grieving process, and to acknowledge your pain. Truly look at it and acknowledge your pain. And don't use drug and alcohol to numb the pain, because that's just going to give you more problems, bigger issues to deal with later. So fixing the pain, you do want to try to fix the pain through therapy, but you want to look at all the different things, your childhood, what you did in the relationship, what you could have done better. I don't want to make you the victim, because you're not. I don't want to make you responsible. You are the victim, but we need to look at what we played in the role of the relationship. So you want to understand what you're going through, read books, listen to audiobooks about grief and loss and about narcissism. You want to avoid making really huge decisions at this time because you're under a lot of stress. You don't want to make huge decisions if you don't have to. You want to take care of yourself physically and emotionally. Sometimes it can be the best time to get yourself in shape. I know I did that. So be patient with yourself. Don't rush yourself through the process. Now, one of the things that my therapist had me to do was to write a goodbye letter, as if he were dead. And I did. And I was able to get out a lot of things. And it helped me to finalize the relationship. And it was a good exercise. So to look at some of the benefits of therapy, there are lots of benefits to therapy, and especially when you're looking at therapy for specifically narcissistic relationship abuse. So when you do this, if you get someone who has done this kind of therapy before, you can learn more about narcissistic traits, tendencies, and tactics that they use against the victims. But you can also do your own research like I have done too. You want to identify the wounds that have been left by the abuse, the self-esteem, trust issues that you may be going through, working through the conflict and the feelings toward your abuser. Because oftentimes you believe that they were the person that they showed to you. I know I was in a relationship for 10 years, and I come to find out there are a lot of things I didn't know, I wasn't aware of, and it was a totally different person than I thought I knew. So you want to find the healthy coping skills, the outlets and support to aid in the healing process. So you want to identify those warning signs, the red flags that I ignored. And you want to learn how to set boundaries for healthier relationships in your future. You want to resolve these self-worth issues, and you want to rebuild trust and confidence in yourself. Okay, because a lot of times we're like, how did I do that? How was I in that? And like, I must not really know what I'm doing. So you want to rebuild that. So you can get individualized therapy. There are so many online support groups and also therapists. They recommended BetterHelp. I did use BetterHelp. I used Meetup for support groups, and also circles. They had specific narcissistic abuse groups, both on Meetup and the circles. You can read books. I'm going to list 5 books. One is called Emotional Vampires. The next is Why Is It Always About You? Then The New Science of Narcissism, The Covert Passive Narcissist, and Why Can't I Just Leave? That sounds like a good one. I haven't read that one, but it really sounds good because it probably focuses a lot on the trauma bond that makes you keep going back in that cycle. So it's difficult to deal with the grief of a narcissistic relationship, but it is important for you to move on. So by following the tips that I gave in this video, you can start the process to begin to heal. And remember to take time for yourself, reach out for support, and take your time in getting through this grieving process. So if you don't mind, don't forget to give the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more information on NPD.